Hi everyone, I'm Kristen, the cross-stitching runner, and welcome to Flosstube number 7. This is a channel where I talk about cross-stitch and a bit about my life and how things are going for me with running and all the rest. So I just want to say welcome to all returning viewers and big welcome to anyone who has stumbled across my channel. I'm filming this on Sunday the 18th of July and it is well and truly winter here in Canberra. Yesterday it actually tried to snow a little bit in parts of Canberra, and it was really exciting because we don't often get a lot of snow. We do have I guess nearly the perfect weather conditions for it at times, and we do have I guess some mountain ranges and such that form part of Canberra's landscape that are called the Brindabellas, and they're located I guess more to the south of Canberra, and I'm located more in the north, and so that's where, especially in the northern areas of Canberra and the surrounding region, we're not prone to getting as much snow or snow-like conditions compared to the southern and western suburbs of Canberra. So that's what made it so much more special and exciting. And it wasn't quite the perfect conditions for the snow to properly settle on the ground, and it was a bit of a mixture of sleety rain, but when it did actually properly snow, and you could really tell because it had that fluffier look compared to what rain and all the rest does, and it all of a sudden just got quieter when it did snow, and it just felt really special when it did happen, and that's what made it exciting. And it was also my mum's birthday yesterday as well, so that's what made it extra special that it snowed. But where she was yesterday, she actually didn't see any snow where she was, but she was definitely aware through the news and seeing things on social media and what other people were saying, that yeah, she knew it snowed on her birthday. And so yeah, that was pretty cool and exciting. So the next thing in terms of updates with what I'll be sharing with all of you today. So I've got the Flosstube itchy nose today happening. So I'll share with you some of the projects that I've been working on that I have fully finished, some of the projects that I'm still a work in progress, and probably will be a work in progress for some time, and yeah, we'll keep progressing from there. So the first thing that I want to share with you is a framed one that I framed up, and so this one I've called, hopefully it's not going to be too glary, so this one is one that I've called Stitching Enabler, and this is part of the Flosstube Made Me Do It series, and I've stitched this on, I'm thinking 25 or 28 count fabric. It's fabric that I've had in my stash for some time, so I can't remember exactly the details of it, and this particular project fits within a frame that I think it measures to being about 15 centimeters by about 20 centimeters, which is what, a 5 by 8 inch frame. I'm guessing a little bit here. I'm trying to remember the details a bit without pulling this apart too much. So I've stitched this all in DMC thread, and I've tried to I guess also use what am I trying to use? That line of thinking's just gone out the brain. I'm really sorry about that one. So the way that I finished this off, I had some, I guess, scrap cardboard. I can't remember, it might have been from some packaging of something that I've had in my stash for for a while, and so I used double-sided tape that I have in my collection as part of when I feel motivated to do scrapbooking. And so I used double-sided tape to attach the fabric to the cardboard, and I then used double-sided tape to attach the finished piece to the white paper that we're seeing above and below the actual project. And so I've got this frame just floating around a little bit. I haven't decided where exactly its home is going to be. I'm thinking that I might take this part off the backboard here and put some Velcro sticky patches. I can't remember the exact names of what they are, but they enable people to hang frames up on walls without actually putting nails through the gyprock or through the wall, really. And so it's absolutely awesome if you're renting, or if you really don't want to just do any damage to your walls. Or you might have pocket doors or sliding doors where you're wanting to frame things. So yeah, either way, it works out really well, which is how I've actually got some of the pictures up on the wall that you can see behind me. I've got those special sticky Velcro-y things attached to the back of the frames, and for the most part they do well. They stay stuck for a fair while. If I've mucked up and not properly attached things to the back of the frame or to the wall or something, then there have been times where there's been a crash bang in the middle of the night when the frame has fallen off the wall and crashed on the ground. And yeah, it's definitely given me a bit of a fright in the middle of the night and woken me up a bit. Or it's been in the morning going, okay, how did that frame end up on the ground? So yeah, just a bit of word of warning, just making sure that it all works out. So the next thing that I finished, or started and finished, since my last Flosstube is a Biscornu. So in my last Flosstube, I might have talked about this one. So this is what I'm calling the Wattle Biscornu, and I've had this idea in my mind for at least 12 months. It feels like 12 months. And I've needed the time to be able to properly figure out how I want it to look, how I want it to work. And this Biscornu that I'm showing you right now, it's the prototype. It was me testing out what I could get away with, for how much of a margin I could get away with having around the edge of the actual stitched piece, to then enable the joining of the front and back. And I definitely proved to myself that having more than just 2 millimeters of fabric is needed when putting together a Biscornu, especially if I'm wanting to have it fairly firm with the stuffing. So that's why we're seeing here, for example, the fabric's coming away a bit, and also with these edgings as well, it's not turned out the way that I want it to, because the brown stitches were very much coming away from the fabric, and that's where I thought, no, I really need to still join the front and back of the Biscornu together. And so that's why I started stitching the dark blue crosses that we're seeing here. So all of this is in DMC thread, and I stitched it on, I think it's 25 or 28 count fabric. It's the same fabric that I stitched the Stitching Enabler project. So we'll just bring it a bit closer. So Stitching Enabler, and this is the the same fabric for the Biscornu. So because I wasn't happy with the final finish for this Biscornu, I stitched it again. And the wonderful thing with this Biscornu, and also having plenty of time on my hands, is I think it took maybe 2 days. That also includes like having breaks of getting up, going for walks, meal breaks, and all the rest in between. And this is the improved edition of the Wattle Biscornu, and I am over the moon with how this has turned out, because I am seeing the peaks and troughs that I wanted to have for the first Biscornu, and in my mind this is how Biscornus should be if it is just a two-sided Biscornu. And it's also what I've seen on the internet as well, in terms of searches that I've done for how to finish a Biscornu, and I guess other patterns that I've seen. This one is, I guess, a lot more stuffed. It's a lot firmer compared to the first Biscornu, and this time around I made sure that I had at least 1 centimetre of fabric around the edge of the two finished pieces, and that made the world of difference. And yes, there is probably a bit more fabric inside this Biscornu, which has possibly contributed to why it's feeling a lot firmer, but I'm just really happy with how it's turned out. And as a result, I have actually started creating some tutorials on how to cross stitch, how to finish Biscornus, and all the rest. And it is a work in progress, and it'll take me just a little bit to make some edits and upload it to the hot cross stitching website, but I'll get there. I'll definitely let you all know when those tutorials are available. So that leads me to, I guess, some whips or works in progress, and these are also a little bit connected to some of the time that I had off work. So I had from the 1st of July until about the 11th of July off work, and the aim of that holiday was to go up to Queensland, but plans changed. The coronavirus pandemic that we're all experiencing, it flared up a little bit, and it's actually flared up even more now along the eastern side of Australia especially. But at the time of early July, end of June, I guess it was probably the start of some of the flare-ups that we're experiencing now. But short story, my boyfriend and I, we decided to cancel our plans for going up to Queensland, and it did take a lot of pressure off us and stress, because we were worried that with some of the lockdowns that the politicians were needing to do for the outbreaks that were happening for where we were travelling to, we weren't sure if those lockdowns were going to be extended, or if they were just going to be for the period of time they were talking about. And it also meant that there were going to be other restrictions connected to the lockdowns, and especially when they started opening up again. And it was going to put a dampener on our holiday. So we don't know when we're next going to try and plan for our holiday up to Queensland, but we are hopeful that it's going to happen. It's just a case of we don't know when, and yeah, it'll be okay. So as a result of not going to Queensland, but I still had that designated time off work, I was able to get those two full finishes happening. And I also actually made the start of doing the tutorials and all the rest, and I'm feeling really excited about that because I went to a store that we've got here in Australia called Officeworks, and I was able to get a special clamp thing that I can use for my phone and attach it to tripods and that. I realise that this may not seem like any big deal for people who may film on their mobile phones. I use my laptop to do these Flosstube episodes and to do any kind of like FaceTiming or any kind of face-to-face style of talking over the internet. But I've never really done much to do with my phone where, yeah, I'll take photos and such with it, but I feel excited that I think I've hit the sweet spot, the right spot that I need for getting devices to talk to each other, to get my phone in the position that I need it to be to do all the rest. So that's been really exciting, and because I also do photography with a DSLR camera, so I can't remember the acronym of DSLR. It'll come to me eventually. If I do remember it, I'll put it in the caption below or description box below. But because I use a different camera for some of the other photos that I like taking, I've been lucky enough through either purchasing it myself or receiving as gifts about 3 different tripods that I have at my disposal. And so I've been having a lot of fun trying to figure out which tripod would actually work for the results that I want to achieve, and I've finally figured out how that works in terms of which tripod suits for my needs and the clamp and all the rest. So that said, that'll get that boring stuff out of the way. Let's get on to some of the other cross-stitch stuff. So the first project that I want to show you that I'm working on, I have shown in a couple of previous episodes, and this first one is called 12 Days of Christmas. Okay, so the 12 Days of Christmas is a pattern that's from the Ultimate Cross-Stitch Christmas, and this is volume 19 from the year 2018, and I purchased this I think it was around the calendar year of 2018-2019, around Christmas time when I was on holidays, and I had this itch to update my collection for a whole heap of different Christmas style designs and patterns and such. And so the 12 Days of Christmas is designed by Rhona Norrie, and this is how it will look when it's done. And so I'm stitching, I'm not using a navy blue fabric, but I am using a very similar count to what's recommended for this project. So this project, it's recommended that 24 count navy even weave is used, and I am definitely using an even weave. I can't remember the exact details of the count. It could very well be, it looks like it's about 25 count fabric. I'll just get this out of the hoop so you can effectively see what I've done, and I'll also include a picture of what my progress was before. Okay, so this is what I've done so far, and I'll just roll this up a little bit. Okay, so this will be roughly the height of it. I have started in the middle of the fabric because I'm using all of the called for colours, and I'm actually stitching this 2 threads over 2 fabric squares, and this is where I guess I'm testing things out a bit for my own benefit, but also just as a curiosity for the instructions of the pattern as well, where I'm not 100% sure if it'll work. I'm just looking a bit closer at the finished picture, and it does look like they've stitched it 2 threads over 2 squares. So I'll just show this up again. So that's how it's going to look in the end, and I guess, yeah, you could say I've probably done the mistake of not stitching it on the navy blue, but yeah, I do think that this will still work out well. I'm not sure exactly how I'll finish it. I'm not sure if I'll do it as a wall hanging or something different, but I guess time will tell. At the moment, I'm just enjoying the stitching process, and I am very much a process stitcher. I do enjoy the act of stitching rather than feeling a need to rush to get it finished and be a product stitcher instead. And that's where also I do like having the balance of having the smaller projects like the Wattle Biscornu and like the Stitching Enabler project, that they are smaller projects and I know that I can get them completed fairly quickly, and that renews my energy and my excitement and passion for doing some of the larger projects. So the next project I want to share with you that I've been working on is one of my own designs, and it's called Black and White Rolled Up Daisy. So this is where I've gotten to so far. I'm stitching this on 18 count black Aida, and all of the threads are the called for in the pattern, and they're all DMC. So what I'm thinking of doing with this project, you can see up here, I'll get this out of the way a little bit, you can see a little bit in the background here that they are full crosses, and what I'm wanting to test out with this project is, especially when I start stitching down the side here, I want to start phasing this from full cross into half stitch, which is also known as tent stitch. So I just want to test things out a little bit to see how that can work for the finished effect. And I also want to be able to show people that if they do stitch this project on the dark fabric, I guess how their project can look if they stitch the background as tent stitch or half stitch compared to the full crosses, because that can also save people a lot of time with getting through the project if they're struggling to work on the dark fabric and struggling with a full coverage project. So I'm really liking how this project is coming about, because initially I had been a bit worried about how it would look, but I think it's looking pretty good. So they're the two main projects that I'm working on, and because I've finished the Biscornu and Stitching Enabler, I've got the itch to start a new project. And in my last Flosstube episode, at the very end, I shared with all of you some of my recent purchases from a Heaven and Earth design sale that they had. And so because I've got those cover pages sitting near where my stitching chair is in the living room, not the living room, the lounge room, sorry, because I walk past them pretty well every day, they're under my nose, and so I'm like, oh, I really want to stitch them, I really want to make a start on them, and then I remind myself I've already got so many projects on the go. I mean, I know that they're just two that I've got on the go, but in future episodes I'll actually do a whip parade, and all of you will see that I actually do have quite a lot of projects on the go, and part of why I'm itching to start a new one, because it's something new, it's exciting, but it's also, you'll also see my reluctance of starting a new project. And this is where it leads me to my plans. So we're about halfway through July, and I am part of the Facebook group called the Black Needlework Society Stitching Retreat for the Stars Hollow Stitches box. So why I'm looking like I am and the big cheesy grin and excitement is I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan, and what the Black Needle Society have done is they, earlier this year, and I heard this through some Flosstubers as well, that the Black Needle Society have put together a special Stitches box based on the Gilmore Girls TV series, and the Stitches retreat is going to be happening in August, and some recent updates that I've seen in the Facebook group is I think towards the end of July the boxes will be shipped out to the people who have I guess paid for the boxes and said that they want to participate in the retreat and everything that's connected with it. And I'm sort of holding off starting a new project because we've been given an update on some fabric and some floss that we need to purchase for a pattern that we don't know about but is going to be connected to the retreat and the box we're going to receive. And my extra excitement with this particular Stitches retreat, and it's going to be an online digital retreat thing, I'm excited about it because I've seen some of the unboxings episodes on Flosstube that some other people have done that have been, I think I've seen Michelle Bendy Stitchy do one with her daughter on some pirate themed box. I've also seen the Still City Stitches do unboxings for other boxes they've received, and I know that they're ambassadors for the Black Needle Society as well as Michelle Bendy Stitchy, and the boxes that the Black Needle Society do look absolutely amazing. The amount of time and effort that they have put into their boxes and the quality of the boxes, the quality of the contents are absolutely amazing. So I strongly recommend to all of you viewers that if you've not heard of the Black Needle Society, do a search on the internet and have a look at their website, and also do a search on YouTube and check out some of the unboxings that many Flosstubers have done. The Steel City Stitches and Michelle Bendy Stitchy, they are just two groups and a group and a person that I have seen do the unboxing because I follow them regularly, and there are definitely many other people who do the unboxings as well, and they'll definitely give you a unique view and perspective of those boxes as well. So I'm definitely really excited about being part of the digital retreat and all the rest that goes with it, because I don't know what's going to happen, and that's part of the excitement for me. So I guess my plans for the rest of July is to still work on the black and white rolled up daisy and to work on the 12 days of Christmas. How long that lasts, I don't know, we'll wait and see. So they're definitely my main plans for the rest of July, and we'll wait and see what brings us for August, because I know that in roughly a week's time new numbers are going to be called for the Whip Go board, and yeah, I'm actually interested and keen to see what that brings, and yeah, I'll be curious as to how I can integrate those two new projects for August to how that goes with the Stitches Retreat for the Black Needle Society. So we'll wait and see. So without that sort of things done, this leads me into, I guess, still a little bit of a life update, but also connected to some shout outs and such as well. So when I got back to work, so this week that's just finished and about to start, so I finished the first week back at work after having nearly 12 days off work, and I don't know about you, but I know I find it to be a struggle after having some time off work and then getting back into work and actually doing work related tasks and such. And for me, 10 days, 12 days didn't feel long enough, because I feel like it takes me nearly a week to actually unwind and actually get into holiday mode. And then the second week, I'm in holiday mode. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm feeling productive. I'm feeling like I'm relaxing and enjoying time. And then it, in my headspace, it rudely ends, and I have to go back to work again. And I know I shouldn't complain because of the greater world of what's going on, that I definitely know that I am lucky to have a job to grumble about. So that's where I am thankful for things as well. So it is that fine balance of my headspace. But where I'm leading with this as well is I've been doing a little bit of soul searching just to still get my head into the right space for work and what I need to do. As a side note, I'm a public servant in Canberra. Majority of the people who live in Canberra are public servants, in the sense that we either work for the federal government, which is also known as the Commonwealth Government for Australia, or we work for the state government. In this case, the state would be Canberra, the Australian Capital Territory. And because of the size of Canberra, it's almost the equivalent of a council, so to speak, when we start thinking about some of the larger states and even the larger cities. So I work for the local government or the state government. So I actually work for the ACT government, and my role is to work in the field of information management. And with information management, I help people with understanding their roles and responsibilities when it comes to the things that they create as part of their daily jobs, and understanding what a record is and how they use the business system that we use for managing and maintaining our records. So that's just a little bit of an overview of that side of things. And it means that I need to be detailed orientated, and that's why cross-stitch for me is just such a great thing, where I can be detailed orientated with the stitches that I do and the projects that I work on, but it's a relaxing thing as well. So the roundabout way, getting back to this soul searching and all the rest, whenever I come back off holidays, especially if it's been a shorter holiday, I start questioning whether I'm on the right career path, and especially with all the things that I've been doing recently with cross-stitch and trying to do tutorials and all the rest. It's had me wondering, going, well, should I be changing my career path? Should I be changing what I do with work as well? Like, if I still need to have an income. With my cross-stitch business and what I'm wanting to achieve, it is still very much at its infant stages. I've not made any sales yet, partly because there are just so many other admin things that I need to do, and also marketing for me is a struggle because I'm an introvert, and I struggle to be able to effectively promote myself in a positive way that people clearly understand, and also communicate with influence to positively say, like, hey, look, hey, we really should be doing this, and this is why, and how we can go about it, and having that passion behind what I do, as well as the confidence. So that's where a lot of the soul searching has been happening over the last week, but more for the last few months, really, because when I first started doing the floss tubes and that, it's definitely helped with my confidence and public speaking and all the rest that goes with it. And I also struggled a little bit where I started seeing and comparing myself. One of the worst things to do is to compare myself with other people and their amazing progresses and such. Worst thing I can do. So what I've also done and reminded myself is that there are over 800 Flosstubers, which I needed that reminder, because it reminded me that all of us have only so many hours in a day that we can dedicate to different tasks, different things that we want to do, and dedicate to ourselves, really. And 800 Flosstubers, I think, is really awesome and amazing, and it's something that none of us can compete against, and we shouldn't be feeling like we're competing. And initially that's what I felt like. I felt that I was competing a little bit for attention, and a little bit for trying to draw attention to my channel and what I'm doing, and that initially was getting me a bit down, and I had to remind myself, wait, hang on, that's not what Flosstube is about. Flosstube is very much about everyone sharing the projects they're working on, and hey, if we get sales out of things, then that's brilliant, but that's not the goal with Flosstube. And I had to really remind myself of that. And I've with the Flosstubers that I do watch on a regular basis, and other people I'm introducing myself to as well, and trying to watch and support them as well, they're reminding me in their own special way as well that what Flosstube really is about. And so that's been pretty cool. And I've also had to remind myself that with some of the Flosstubers who are like me, who are very early in their seasons of Flosstube, have skyrocketed, and I'm so happy for them and proud of them, and they totally deserve that attention. And it's because of their amazing personalities, and their warmth, and their ability to talk to the camera and really sort of reach out and be talking to you as a viewer as well. That is something very special, that is very much about their personality, but I think also about their life experiences as well. So the two people I'm thinking of especially at the moment for this is Chris, XrossStitching Stitcher. I hope I've gotten his name, his YouTube name right for there. And the other person that I'm thinking of is, so I've got a list in front of me and I'm just scrolling through the list right now. Stitching in Costume. Both of them, I love watching their floss tubes. So Stitching in Costume, she's amazing, and I love her warmth and her life experiences that she brings to Flosstube, where by memory, in a previous life she worked as I think couple of the princesses at Disney World. Go and check her out. Go and check out stitching in a costume, and you'll definitely see what I mean in terms of her personality, her warmth, and the awesome projects that she's working on. And you'll hear about her life experiences as well, and it's because of those life experiences that really, for me at least, have drawn me in, and I really appreciate the work that she does. And that's where it's similar to the XrossStitcher. He has talked a bit about his life in theatre and drama and that kind of thing, and that's where that's what makes him so engaging as well. At least to me, that's what makes him so engaging, and his personality is such a warm person and absolutely amazing. So definitely go check him out as well. And he's absolutely skyrocketed with the number of viewers and subscribers. The subscribers especially. I think by memory he's mentioned in a recent Flosstube that he's definitely over 1,000 subscribers, and I think he's getting really close to 2,000, which is amazing, a huge achievement, and yeah, definitely good to celebrate. So I've already mentioned 2 Flosstubers who I really enjoy watching, and both of them are based in America. And I also appreciate we're probably a bit over the 41-minute mark, and with the last bit that I want to focus on is some of the Australian Flosstubers who I really enjoy watching, and I want to support as well and do shout outs for them, because when I first started getting into Flosstube in terms of watching Flosstube, I initially wanted to know if there were any Australians out there. And initially, a few years ago, Carolyn Mazzeo was the first person who came up in my search as an Australian Flosstuber. Carolyn doesn't do any Flosstubes anymore, but I understand that she is still potentially fairly active on Instagram. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% certain, and I don't know what her Instagram handle is, if she is on Instagram, but I loved watching her and her projects, and it sounded like she spent a bit of time over in America, and that's where she was able to show quite a lot of projects and patterns and everything that she's gotten from there, and her finishes and everything. And that's where I was introduced a bit more to the world of full coverage and heaven and earth designs, and I was just blown away by the work that she's done and the stitching and everything. So that was absolutely amazing. Some of the other Flosstubers I regularly watch is Mich Stitch. She's based up in New South Wales, up near Sydney, and I love her personality. She is absolutely awesome. She just has this the Aussie personality, the vibrancy and extrovert kind of personality that I find her engaging, and I love the projects that she's working on. And she's been organising last couple of years, and I believe it may happen this year as well, the Mittagong Stitches Retreat, and I heard about it a couple of years ago, and I would have loved to have attended I think the first one back in 2019. The timing for me for work and that didn't quite work out, but I was lucky enough to participate in the digital retreat that Michelle had put together, and her and the person she worked with to make it happen, they did a phenomenal job. It was absolutely awesome, and I had a bit of a fangirl moment happening with that Stitches retreat, because I'm socially awkward at the best of times, and especially if I'm really excited about something, I don't communicate very well at times because my excitement is just taking over, and it gets a bit weird. So also at the time I was having some problems with my internet. I was down at the coast and we hadn't been able to get a good internet connection happening at the time, and it meant that it kept dropping out on me, and so I kept having to quickly say whatever I needed to say, and in the hope that people would hear me, and before any of the internet dropped out, but also because of the fangirling that was happening, because I've watched Michelle so much with her Flosstubes. Was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually talking with one of the Flosstubers who I admire and just love watching, and yeah, it got a bit uncomfortable, and Michelle was wonderful, like, and the other people who were part of those groups as well, they were fantastic and amazing with putting up with me and making me feel welcome and everything. They were absolutely amazing, and thank you so much. So the other person I wanted to do a big shout out to is Kelly of Animal Instincts, and she's based in South Australia, and I actually got to I guess briefly chat with her as part of the Mittagong Digital Stitches retreat that happened last year, and I think we were able to establish that whilst we don't know each other in any capacity of outside of cross-stitch or anything, that there is a connection in terms of Canberra, where by memory I think she's lived in Canberra for a little while, or she has family or friends who lives in Canberra, and so that's sort of where that sort of connection can happen, and that's what I love about the world of Australia, but also the internet and cross stitch and such. And I love the projects that Kelly is working on. She does a variety of full coverage and non-full coverage projects, and I love all of the projects that she's working on, and seeing the progress that she's making on them. I think when I first started watching her, she was working on a gecko rouge honeybee kind of project, and my jaw hit the ground. It was like, oh my gosh, the project that she was working on, it looked stunning. It was just absolutely beautiful. And I think at the moment another Flosstuber, I think her name is HoneyBeeStitcher. I'll put it in captions to be absolutely sure, but she's based in Melbourne, and she's actually been working on that project as well, and I believe that she's potentially finished it as well. Either way, those two projects, both Kelly and Honeybee, they've done amazing jobs on those cross stitches or projects. And so yeah, I know that Kelly's just recently posted some pictures in Facebook, and I think she'll be talking about it in one of her recent Flosstubes about another project that she's working on that's a full coverage, and I think by memory it could be called Firefly. But go check her out, and also go check out HoneyBeeStitcher and Mich Stitch. All three of them, they're awesome people, and they've got awesome projects that they're working on. We're pretty much coming up nearly to the 50-minute mark, so I'll call it quits, and or call it quits for today. I'll include information in the description box below about the projects that you've seen and the Flosstubers I've talked about today. In the next episode, I hope to talk a bit more about some of the other Australian Flosstubers that I really enjoy watching, to go check them out. And yeah, thank you all so much for your time today, and I hope to be able to spend a bit more time with you all in the next episode and future episodes and such. So I'll catch you all later. See ya.